Welcome back to Coffee and Composition. If you saw our last segment, we were talking about some tools you can use in the classroom and out of the classroom for your students at home, and some techniques you can do. And so we're going to jump right into what we were talking about before, which was our geographies of a poem. Again, that was created by Natasha Trethewey, and I use it in my poetry sessions to give students a way to enter into a poem that's a lot more accessible for them. So a quick review: the geographies of a poem are the linguistic geography, architectural geography, the intellectual geography, emotional geography, and the sonic geography. And so what we're going to focus on today with Ms. Walker is the emotional geography, and we're going to look at Langston Hughes' poem, My People. And so Ms. Walker, you there?
Yeah.
All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to read the poem as if I were the student, and then you will ask me questions about how did it make me feel, or what parts about it made me feel this way. And, you know, just kind of improvise what you think some questions to evoke emotions would be, okay?
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right. My People.
But April, then you said we're going to stand up and do something?
Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me. We're going to do a yoga pose, because I always start, before I do a poetry class, I do a yoga pose. So you're going to stand up. Let me make sure you guys can see me. Just to get our creative juices going. And I like to start with a very basic pose, which is mountain pose. So you're going to stand with your feet hip width apart and just put your arms down to your side with your palms facing up. Roll your shoulders back and take a deep breath in and out. Now make your crown of your head up to the sky and just get tall. You're a strong mountain. Breathe in and out. All right, so let's get going. Thank you for that reminder. I feel better already going into the poem.
I like that. I may incorporate that as a brain break.
Yeah, there's a lot of different really basic poses you can do. I like mountain pose, tree pose, chair pose, which is always a funny one because I have them get up and then they sit down like they're in a chair, but they're not in their chairs. They always really crack up with that one. So I can send you some of those poses, some easy ones that y'all can do.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so my people. Dream singers, storytellers, dancers, loud laughers in the hands of fate. My people. Dishwashers, elevator boys, ladies' maids, crap shooters, cooks, waiters, jazzers, nurses of babies, loaders of ships, porters, hairdressers, comedians in vaudeville, and bandmen in circuses. Dream singers all. Storytellers all, dancers, God, what dancers, singers, God, what singers, singers and dancers, dancers and laughers, laughers? Yes, laughers, 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 loud mouth laughers in the hands of fate. Again, that was My People by Langston Hughes.
April, can we pause just for a minute? I need to ask you one question.
Okay, you ready?
Yes, April, I'm sorry about that pause. And I was familiar with another poem, and I got to look back on that, but we'll talk about that later. But what I heard from this, what I felt was everybody that's doing something for us is my people. I see them. They're part of everything. I guess it's sort of like the old song says, people make the world go round. And my people, I'm thinking mostly because he is a Black poet, he see Black African people doing many types of jobs, and they all part of his race, part of his culture, my people. Now, that could go one way, just could be people, period. But that's what that would be my take from the poem, My People. Yeah. That was my first time hearing that one. I had another one in mind, but that was my first time hearing that one.
Yeah, the things that stood out to me, because sometimes when I read a poem, especially if I'm reading it out loud, I just am kind of reading it and not really processing it. But when he repeated like singers and dancers and laughers, there was like a moment where it sounded kind of musical, and I just kind of wanted to sing, and I just wanted to dance and like move. I wanted to get up, and then when he repeated laughers, 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 I wanted to kind of start just laughing because the word itself just sounded funny, and I guess that's how it made me feel. It made me feel fun and like dancing and just free. It just made me feel good. It was a good feeling poem. Once I got into it, it did take me a while to kind of get into it and feel something fun and not just be reading it, you know.
Right, right.
What were some images that stood out to you of the things that people do, the jobs that he described?
I just saw people, I just saw people working maybe at the train station, at the subway station, maybe people working in the airport, in the cities, people working at libraries, so the community. So I just saw, a community and people, what people makes the community function at different jobs. So that's basically what I saw. The FedEx trucks driving, just different things. People out keeping things moving, keeping the community and the economy moving by working the community and keeping it up.
Yeah, no, I like that. And what I like especially about that is you didn't specifically take the jobs that he had in the poem. You took it to what present day jobs are, so like FedEx drivers and airport workers and things like that. And I think that's what makes this like a timeless poem is that he had things like elevator boys, which we don't have anymore, and then crap shooters, which I thought, that's not necessarily what you would think of as a respectable job, but it is somebody's job. And then you translated it to the jobs that you think of today of people doing things, especially in this age of COVID. There are people that are still out there doing that, driving the trucks and working in the airports and things like that. So I thought that was
And that's part of his community. He saw the crap shoot. I mean, as you were saying, that's his job.
yeah.
That is not. It may not be respectable to in our eyesight, but
But
that's
it's
what.
somebody's job. Yeah, it's somebody's job, and it is it. He didn't discredit it. It was his people still. It's like my people do this and that. My people do all types of things. So
Right, right.
we're gonna take a moment to say hi to Layla. She wanted
I
to.
see your beautiful dog, and I love how she came in quietly, as I would expect. And she's just a pretty dog, so it's good to see Layla again. And she's sitting down quietly. I really appreciate that. She's not a puppy anymore, is she?
No, she's getting older, but she still has her moments. And so, what I think is good about doing this type of activity with your students at home is that either you can read the poem or you can have the student read the poem, and then just talking about how it makes you feel gets you interacting with them and helps them to see a part of you that they may not, see every day with you. If you're telling them how you're feeling, then they can feel more comfortable telling you how they're feeling, and that could lead to conversations outside of the poem too. And so that's what I like about this particular activity is that it gets you that human interaction that they're not necessarily going to get all day in the classroom or in the
Right, right.
classroom.
Well, it does teach. It teaches them a lot of sensory. Look, that's what poetry does.
Mm-hmm.
It has so many sensory issues all throughout the poem, and it gets them to thinking about it. I know a lot of activities that they have us to teach the kids. It does do it, and it's a little bit more structure and everything. But the way that you teaching it here first is very, open and general, and that would help us to bring it back into a more structured feeling. But how did that get you feeling? But yes, that reminded you. So yes, I can see how it all, and that's basically what we do as teachers. But it's just giving us a different, format, different mode to teach it in. Any kind of way that's going to help them to respond and comprehend the poem better. It's going to just be an advantage for them. So.
Yeah, and I would say for parents at home, you have a little more freedom because you can choose the content of what you're talking about with your students. So don't be afraid to do poems that are more contemporary. Some of my favorite contemporary poets that have works for young adults and children are Elizabeth Acevedo and Mahogany Brown. They're two very just phenomenal women poets who have books specifically for young adults and for children centered around poetry. And they talk about topics that kids are dealing with today. And so, if there's a part in a poem that makes your child uncomfortable, don't be afraid to explore that. That was something that I learned with my students this summer is that if there's words in there that make them uncomfortable, whether it may be a swear word or just a word that just triggers something in them, be open and make yourself vulnerable to exploring those emotions with them about, well, that may make me feel a little bit uncomfortable too, or why does that make you feel uncomfortable? Or, things that they may not know what the word means. That's a good time to just, go to the dictionary and look and see what that word means. So a poem has so many different offerings that it can give to you to talk and interact with your child. And especially as a parent, you get to, you know, choose the content, and you don't have to worry so much about, well, this may not be appropriate for all kids. You know, you get to know your child a little better, you know.
Yes, and I want to add, if you have 3, 4, and 5 year olds, all of those beautiful nursery rhymes that was taught to us back in the old school, all kids still love that, and that's a way to introduce beautiful poetry to them. It's going to help them with their reading because they're going to hear rhythm, they're going to hear rhyme, they're going to learn about how speech and words come together to bring on different things. And the younger you start with them, you can't lose with all of the beautiful nursery rhymes from 3, 4, and 5 year olds, I would say, for sure. I mean, introduce those. They are so important. They are so important for background knowledge to have before they get to first, second, or third grade. That would really help them because they will be able to make great connections. Because those are poems too, so they'll be able to make great connections. And then the older parents, if you have the third, fourth, and fifth, the rap music, some decent ones, that's poetry in motion also. Just pick one that you can feel comfortable with talking to them about, and maybe just picking out a couple of lyrics. You have to do the whole song.
Yeah.
And compare that with one of maybe your old school that you like. It wasn't a poem. I mean, it wasn't a rapper, but some of the music that could have been, you know, because music does have so much rhythm and rhyme and sensory in it. So you can compare like that. So.
No, that's definitely a good point, and one that I like to do when we're talking about the sonic geography. We looked at songs from like Sam Cooke and Twisted, and had the students listen to that and think about what are the sounds that you're hearing and what does that do for the song. And then we looked at like Cardi B and like what do those lyrics do for you? If we took out, you know, cuz and different slang words, how would that change the meaning of that song? And then we created our own rap or song or poem. The students did, and I created my own, and we performed it for each other. And it does just help you to work with them and show them that poetry isn't everything. And like you said, for the younger kids, just listen to your kids when they're at home around the house. They are making up songs all day long, making up poems, and just ask them, you know, what are you singing, or what are you saying? And encourage that, because they are making up songs and poems all day long. Kids are like lyricists before they get into school, and then they kind of get discouraged with that. So really encourage that with those younger kids. They'll just go around and it doesn't have to be words that you know, just sounds. Those are poems too. So encourage that.
Because April, when you was about, I guess, 10 months to 2 years, you made up several little rhythm. No one knew your little tone but you, your little tune but you. You would sing it to yourself as you would play or whatever, and you know, but it had a little rhythm. Yeah. And everyone was different, but that was unique to you. I didn't even ask you about it because you was in your own little world, and it brought you comfort and joy, I saw. And you were content. So you're right about that. But you validate them, and you don't get upset with them if April, like April said, you want to join in with them, you can, but just let them know that sound, you know, that did good. You were singing, you just encouraging them, and that make them want to do more and learn more.
Exactly. Well, thank you for doing this session with us, and you know, hopefully we'll do more like this. Do you have any last thoughts you want to give to our viewers?
I am a lifelong learner. That's one reason I chose teaching. I love it because it's not just me giving, it's me receiving. And it makes me very proud to know that my oldest daughter is not giving something to me in a very formal setting. So I'm just very proud of you. And I thank you for allowing me to be a participant in this. And I will take some of these things back to my classroom until I retire. And hopefully continue to increase the kids' knowledge of learning, and mostly about poetry also.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Again, you were my first and best teacher, so it started with you. So thank you so much. And for those of you out there who didn't get to join us today, you can find the recordings on our website, www.alittlemoretruthllc.com. You can also check us out on Instagram. We do smaller segments of this and other types of learning videos for students and parents, and that's at A Little More Truth. And so we will look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Take care.
Bye-bye.